Hello, my name is Catarina Pombo Nabai. I'm a philosopher and I work at the Department of History and Philosophy of Science of the Faculty of Science of the University of Lisbon in Portugal. I am the head of the Science Art Philosophy Laboratory, where I work with scientists from diverse fields, from, mathematicians, physicians, oceanographers, and so on, and also with artists from all kinds of practices and styles, such as performers, filmmakers, and so on. And in Space Messengers project, you are also dealing with science and art. So you have, from one hand, from scientists, you have been learning about science achievements of knowing a bit further the universe and its stars, its black holes, its gravitational fields, and so on. And from artists, you are a part of an artistic project, of Space Messengers project. So when that we all going to be part of, and we'll have the opportunity to perceive it and to see it physically when COVID-19 will let us be physically united again. So there is this third component which in this project, which is philosophy. So why me, a philosopher, am part of the Space Messengers project? Does philosophy have a specific way of looking into the universe, different from science and art? And what is the contribution from philosophy to such a project like Space Messengers? So I guess some of you are wondering, what is philosophy? What is this kind of bizarre work that I have? So first of all, philosophy is different from science and from art. Science gives us multiple ways of knowing the universe. Science is the quest for knowing the universe and all its beings. Science asks how questions. How does gravity work? How does coronavirus enter our bodies? Right? So these are how questions, sorry. So in this search for knowledge, science managed to collect data, to identify, to experiment, to relate, to explain the world by operating some equations, functions, relations. And in doing this, science reaches some fantastic answers that improve people's lives. As science, art is also a way of understanding the world. But differently from science, art is an individual work where the artist understands the world and also himself or herself in the world. Also, the specificity of art is the production of the unique, exceptional entities, which are the artworks. So art understands the world by putting forward an individual, original, singular way of perceiving the world, which is the individuality of the artist, and by also creating new categories of beings in this world, which are the art pieces. Finally, in this map of human activities, there is philosophy. So, contrary to science, philosophy is not a matter of knowledge, where we follow a path that leads us to more and more precise information about the world and its beings. Philosophy is about thinking. Philosophy is a matter of thought, of critical thinking. It deals with possibilities. Also, different from art, philosophy does not create physical beings. Philosophy creates new entities, but not physical as the artworks, but instead abstract and theoretical entities, which are the concepts and the theories. So philosophy is a quest for understanding the world and its possible modes of existence. Philosophy asks why questions. So remember, science asks how questions, and philosophy asks why questions, such as, for example, why is there a universe instead of nothing? This is a wonderful question, and I'm going to repeat it again so it stills in your minds after this class. Why is there a universe instead of nothing? So to face this philosophical question, philosophy constructs theories and concepts, but never provides a scientific answer, nor a concrete art object, okay, like the art piece. So philosophy offers us a deep comprehension of the meaning of life and of the world through the most abstract activity that we are capable of, which is pure and abstract thinking. And thinking the major questions about life, time, and the universe and our relation to it. But beyond these differences between art, science, and philosophy, perhaps there are some deeper connections between all these three disciplines that may explain the fact that today I am giving you a philosophy class in the Space Messengers project, which involves all these three disciplines. So why am I comparing philosophy to both science and art? Because I think that these three disciplines, so different from each other, have the same creative character. They all create, they all invent and produce new ways of knowing the world, which is science, of experimenting the world, which is art, and of thinking the world, which is philosophy. So it is as if we have a whole unique universe with three different planets: philosophy, science, and art. And they all think and act and evolve in parallel, always connected and in communication with each other. Now, one of the things philosophy does is to understand the deep connections between, for instance, science and art. Science and art have always been close to each other. There are several examples in the history where some artists are in contact with science achievements, and scientists are also very curious about art productions. Sometimes science and art develop as two parallel lines that follow different ways, but are somehow connected. And you have heard about the famous example of, for instance, Leonardo da Vinci or Galileo. But now, let us now see one of the most magnificent examples of this deep relationship between art and science. It is a specific case I've brought to you today, which is quite relevant to grasp this relationship, specifically in what concerns art and physics, or painting and physics. Van Gogh, perhaps the most famous painter in the world, was a Dutch painter who lived in the 19th century. He painted more than 2,000 artworks. Maybe you know him. One of his works among his landscapes and self-portraits. You may know him from these celebrated paintings like The Sunflower or His Room. His work is very intensive, is characterized by these vivid colors that you are seeing, and as by vigorous, expressive brush traces that contributed to the foundations, what is called the post-impressionism in modern art. So it is very interesting to remark that Van Gogh believed in a very special connection to nature and to the power that nature has behind what we see. With his work, Van Gogh tried to capture the nature's power and essence, both through the use of vivid colors to express the light of the nature, and to the vigorous brush traces as a way of expressing the natural movement, for instance, of the wind and dynamics of the landscape. In a letter to his brother Theo, Van Gogh writes, and I'm quoting, "Painters understand nature and love it and teach us to see. Always continue walking a lot and loving nature, for that is the real way to understand art better and better. The art of Van Gogh's paintings does not rely on being a descriptive and rigorous narrative, but rather an expression of what he feels when gazing at the stars and the landscape, at his room, and at all of the diverse situations he painted. His art is the expression of the singular, unique, extraordinary, absolutely special, I even say spiritual and magical connection he had with nature, as well as the power that exists in nature itself. So this special relation to nature is expressed in his painting as if Van Gogh had somehow captured nature's power. Now, in a certain period of his life, Van Gogh had a very difficult time in which he suffered from depression, mental disorders, and even hallucinations. In that period, he painted 3 very special and interesting paintings that are very famous due to the power of light and almost a magic intensity of movement and nature's energy. They are the Starry Night, painted in 89, and The Road with Cypress and Stars, and also The Wheat Fields with Crows. These paintings are considered to be Van Gogh's most impressive paintings, where he better expressed nature's power of light and movement. But let us take a look now into this one, the Starry Night painting. At the first glance, it is only a perspective of the sky at night. It is literally a starry night. And what is more striking is that the sense of the movement. If you see the painting carefully, you will let yourself dive into this painting. You will start feeling what it expresses. This painting gives us the sense of the whirling clouds movement and the vibrant brightness of the stars and of the moon. It gives us the energetic dynamics of the sky's light, of the wind's movement and force, briefly, of nature in its own dynamics and flow. Now, some scientists, mainly physicians and mathematicians, started to see in this specific painting of Starry Night a representation of nature's mathematical structure, of fluid dynamics in physics. In fact, so some scientists think that Van Gogh might have foreseen a scientific mystery through means of this painting. In fact, if you take a second look at this painting, you understand that the real subject of the painting is the sky's turbulence. The sky's turbulence is the most expressive, the most important element of this painting. But what is turbulence? Turbulence is a chaotic, irregular, and complex phenomena. It is the agitation, the disordered movement of a fluid, which forms spirals, eddies, instead of flowing orderly and parallel paths. For example, when flying, airplanes create airwaves causing a vortex turbulent flow. That is one of the reasons, there are other reasons why, but there is one of the reasons why sometimes we enter a zone of turbulence that you have when flying. It gives us the sensation that the airplane is up and down and it seems that we are falling down. A second example that perhaps it's more easy to understand is the water from a river when passes through the bridge's legs, the structure of a bridge. If the river is flowing softly, the water flows smoothly and orderly around the structure of the bridge. But if the river is running fast and fierce, the water will start colliding with the structure, causing aleatory and uncontrollable movements, and running chaotically in all speeds and all directions. So that is turbulence. Now, did you know that this strange phenomena of turbulence is one of the most important mysteries that physics has still not yet completely solved? Did you know that in physics there is still lacking a good theory able to give coherence and predictability to this complex phenomena of turbulence? That's incredible. So, the complexity of turbulence is such a famous mystery in physics that there is even a spirituous and humoristic anonymous quote attributed both to a German quantum physicist named Werner Heisenberg and to the British mathematician called Horace Lamb that says, when I meet God, I'm going to ask him two questions. Why relativity? And why turbulence? I really believe he will have an answer only for the first. Also, the Nobel-winning physicist Richard Feynman has made this observation, and I quote, "There is a physical problem that is common to many fields, that is very old, and that has not been solved. Nobody in physics has really been able to analyze it mathematically satisfactorily in spite of its importance to the sister sciences. It is the analysis of circulating or turbulent fluids." End of the quote. So, the turbulence problem is that it's very difficult to model and to this unpredictable and chaotic movement and interaction of counterbalance particles. So, how far can you zoom out before all the meaning is lost? And how far does modern technology allow us to zoom in, okay? To understand what is happening in these turbulent fluids. The most developed supercomputers can establish the numbers of these extremely complex equations, but even now the most cutting-edge research is only beginning to hint at solutions to turbulence mysteries. Indeed, until now, science has not yet a comprehensive description and a full equation of turbulence. And in 1945, a Russian mathematician called Andrei Kolmogorov has grasped it and almost solved this puzzle. He made the first relevant effort to determine turbulence with its famous power law of spectrum of whirlpools. But though his findings were close to experimental results, they weren't accurate. And in order to overcome sky's turbulence, the super telescopes with advanced cameras were invented, as the very well-known Hubble super telescope that you already know. In 2004, with the help of the Hubble Space Telescope, scientists observed the turbulence whirlpools of dust clouds around a star. Hubble telescope captured an image of an expanded halo of light around a distant star in the galaxy. Now, what is very interesting for this class, and this is the precise moment I want to catch your attention now, is that the fact that in NASA press release about this scientific achievement, the Hubble image is described as the universe's version of Van Gogh's Starry Night painting. So, if you go to the Hubble site website, we can read that this quote, "This image resembling Vincent van Gogh painting Starry Night is Hubble's latest view of an expanding halo of light around a distant star named V838 Monocerotis. In fact, the similarity, this is the image. In fact, the similarity between the Hubble image and the Van Gogh Starry Night was so striking that 2 years later, a group of scientists from the University of Mexico did a meticulous comparison between these two images. They digitalized the painting and compared it pixel by pixel with the Hubble image. So the main goal was to confirm and to determine the constant variation in the brightness between the two pixels. This variation was very similar to that of the fluid turbulence. So look, the artistic image from Van Gogh's painting contains the statistical patterns of turbulence that we might find in Hubble's scientific image of the star V838. So as you can see, this is a very interesting case of a moment where science and art meet. Now it's time to ask why Van Gogh in the 19th century had such capacity, such intuition, such perspective of the nature's phenomena that science had so much difficulty in defining, and only recently, in 2004, with the more advanced technology, such as the Hubble super telescope, space telescope, and has reached to grasp it clearly. Why is that so? Look, this is precisely a why question. I'm asking why. It's a philosophical question which neither art or science ask. So now let us hear what philosophy has to say about this. Gilles Deleuze, which is a French philosopher and one of the greatest philosophers of our times, has a theory about this. As a philosopher, Gilles Deleuze has offered us the possibility to understand this event. He says that what makes an artist being an artist is the fact that an artist is someone with a very special sensibility, a very unique relation to the universe. Artists, he says, are the one who has a singular, exceptional connection to the cosmic forces. They have visions and auditions of the cosmos, and they are in a kind of vibration with the universe and the cosmic forces that allow them to almost foresee future to come. And this theory is very similar to what Van Gogh himself said in his letter to his brother Theo, the special and deep relation to nature that I've quoted you before. Furthermore, in his theory, Deleuze says another amazing thing that makes us think about this deep meaning of being connected to the universe. And he says that the emergence of a new idea results from chaos. Because thinking is a composition of chaos. New ideas came from chaos as a uniform complex entity. It is as if the ideas were particles of the universe. And sometimes, we don't know why or how, but sometimes someone catches one of them and say, wow, I have an idea. So who knows, ideas are floating entities in the chaos of the universe, and someone just catch them someday in the lifetime. In this sense, ideas may come from the same chaotic and cosmic field as a cosmic formless, diffuse vibration, and only afterwards, when someone catches them, they then become a concrete and specific idea. Now, in this seminar, we have approached some topics and concepts of philosophy as a way of entering this amazing and passionate world of its multiple perspectives. And by entering philosophy, we realize how science, art, and philosophy, so different from each other, are unique and specific ways of relating to the same universe. Science works with functions as a way of knowing how the universe works. Art deals with affects and singular modes of experiencing the world. And philosophy deals with concepts and provides us possible ways of thinking the world. So to conclude, I will answer to a question I've made at the beginning of this class. What is the contribution from philosophy to a project like Space Messengers? So being space messengers as an interdisciplinary project, philosophy helps us understand the deep and necessary relations science, art, and philosophy have. And having philosophy in this project helps us to strengthen the connections between these three disciplines with a different and deeper and expansive possibilities in our minds and thoughts. Philosophy contributes to a wider way of approaching the interdisciplinarity between science, art, and philosophy. Moreover, philosophy is also a way of understanding the meaning and the possibilities in our lives, in this huge and infinite universe. The one that we discover through science, by its data, functions, and equations, and through art, by its artwork that expresses affects and feelings. And philosophy is not a matter of saying what you should do. Philosophy, that what we should do is a matter for the law and politicians and that policemen control. No. Even if ethics, which is a branch from philosophy, addresses questions about the way of being and conducting ourselves in this world, the beauty of philosophy, and specifically of ethics, is always the capacity of thinking possible ways of existing in this world, making us rethinking everything that we know, everything, from why am I here? Or why am I acting this way? Or why is this so instead of otherwise? Or the most beautiful of all of the questions, why is there a universe instead of nothing? So philosophy opens up our minds, our thinkings, our feelings, our ways of interactions with our friends, our families, our society, and our world. Philosophy gives you the capacity of thinking yourself and your life as part of this world. So when you will see the final Space Messengers artwork, you will see the possibilities of each one of you represented in the art piece. Your singularities, your thoughts, your knowledge, your inspirations, your feelings. And then you will see why Space Messengers work is the result from the inclusive, the deep and strong interactions between science, art, and philosophy. And I hope that with such an inclusive and at the same time critical, so at the same time philosophical, way of thinking these three disciplines, we will be able to grasp the meaning of our lives as part of the same universe.